All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the We Book It podcast. This is your Friday night Smackdown review, aka the Friday night Smackdown Lowdown, Hold Down, Throw Down, No Down, Whoa Now. That's right. Whip it around, throw it around, saddle it down, bring it around town. I am your host, stepping in for one of the most charismatic hosts we have on the We Book It, Fritos. He is off getting married, getting hitched in Vegas. Happy wedding day to Fritos. I'm sure he'll probably tune into this tomorrow. So congratulations to you and your beautiful bride. But I am here, guys, with the workhorse of the We Book It podcast. This man puts in the time, puts in the effort. He is your host of the Monday Night Raw Dog special. That's right. I'm talking about my man over here, Coach Man. What's up, Coach?
Hey, Virgil. Good to see you again, man. I'm doing well. It's just been a crazy week for me. You know, school just started this week, and it's been a lot, but I'm happy to be here talking some Smackdown with you, especially
Absolutely.
after a very, very good show tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This show actually felt like an actual good Smackdown, which we had on our Sunday night special. We were talking about how just Smackdown felt such lackluster over the last couple of weeks, and then Triple H, when Smackdown goes to Ireland, which is where it emanated from today, Smackdown pulled out literally all the stops. It feels like in this one to elevate storylines, to create new storylines, and also give us key booking matchups for next week's SmackDown, as well as the show in Paris that will be that Saturday. So I'm excited, man, to talk about this with you. So let's get right down to business. The show opened up with the man returning to Ireland. So literally SmackDown opened with Becky Lynch coming out to a huge ovation from all of her countrymen. She talked about how important it is to have the first episode of SmackDown in Ireland, only to say that the Irish fans don't deserve it, and she tried to get the show canceled. The crowd immediately began chanting for Lyra Valkyria as Lynch ripped into everyone. She complained about a lack of Irish media coverage for her career. Again, like I said, she just went back and forth talking, and then pretty soon Tiffany Stratton came out and interrupted the man and threatened to send her packing before Nia Jax joined the party. Jackson Lynch attacked Tiffy, and then Jade Cargill came out, made the save. Nick Aldis booked a tag match for later in the show between these four women. What did you think of this being the opening segment for SmackDown?
It made the most sense. I think it was a good idea to get Becky out there. She's the Intercontinental champion for a reason, so like get her into the spotlight. I thought it was actually kind of cool to have that championship be the opener for SmackDown. And you know, you could see it on her face. She was waiting for the crowd to stop chanting. She had that smirk so that she could get into her heel promo. And I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch fan with promos, but I thought she did a really good job with this one, and the crowd ate it up. They eventually even started chanting for Lyra. So that was just really good job, good execution from Becky Lynch. And then as for everything else, are we still doing the Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton feud? Like, come on. That's all I got to say. Come on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think Nia Jax is going to get another crack at Tiffany and the WWE Women's Championship. Like I said before, man, I've hosted the SmackDown Lowdown for a little bit now while Fritos has been out of commission. And one of the things I've also said, I think Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, they have ran their course going against each other for right now. It just seems like it keeps being recycled over and over and over again. And it's just not needed. It's not necessary. I do like the Jade Cargill addition. I do think that they will probably end up in a triple threat match, which adds another layer to things. I actually wouldn't even mind Tiffany losing the strap to Jade Cargill, but Nia Jax being the one to get pinned. I don't think that would be a bad move at all, and that may be where they're headed booking wise. But Tiffany Stratton has had a lackluster run as WWE Women's Champion. Let's just put it that way. So next up, we will head to Mello Don't Miz versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Is your second match. I like that Carmelo Hayes is back on my television. I think that WWE has dropped the ball with him lately. And I think that he has so much to offer. He is a charismatic talent. He's a great in-ring performer. And there's so much to add to him. And I think just him working with Miz and getting heat with these two working against each other, I think is going to be great. Carmelo Hayes and The Miz, they were for an action in tag team competition against Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. They wanted the tag team gold. Well, Miz wants them to have tag team gold, but obviously Melo wants to be the United States champion. So Melo pretended he was going to tag The Miz, but pulled his hand away. Miz tagged in, and they had a brief exchange of smirks before he got on Sabin. Motor City Machine Guns used some double team offense to take control as they went to break. After they returned, you see Motor City Machine Guns still controlling the pace with their signature fast-paced style. Then The Miz was able to steal the win from Melo once again, but his partner didn't look too upset about it this time. This was their best match as a duo so far. So a little bit of upsmanship between these two. Melo put over The Miz during a backstage interaction with Fraxium. It was the first time it felt like Melo appreciated actually being Miz's partner. And then the Motor City Machine Guns have some of the best double team offense in all of pro wrestling. So, I mean, that's what I got note wise for that one. What were your thoughts on this match?
I thought really good match. Shout out to the crowd for making this. They made it feel like it was something more than just a regular SmackDown tag team match. The crowd was heavily invested, and oddly enough, they were chanting for The Miz most of the time, which I thought was funny. And that's why Carmelo was kind of messing with Miz on the tag ins to mess with the crowd. And when Miz tagged himself in and got that huge pop, you could see Carmelo actually break character a little bit with that smile because he couldn't help but laugh at how the crowd just got insanely loud once Miz tagged in. But I agree. I think this was their best showing as a tag team, and I'm curious to see where this is going. It seemed like this was going to be like a few weeks kind of thing to where eventually Melo turns on The Miz, but it seems like they might be going a different route now. So I'm curious. But like you said at the beginning, we need more Melo on our screen. So I'm happy that's where we're at right now.
Absolutely. Melo is money. Next up, we have Charlotte Flair versus Piper Niven. Obviously, the secret the Seek Her service. Is it Secret Her service? How was it? Seek Her?
Secret Hervis.
Secret Hervis. There we go. They are trying to make a bid for the women's tag team championships. So the next match featured Flair taking on Niven, but they were not alone. Obviously, Chelsea Green was going to be there, and Alba Fire was going to be in Piper's corner. Alexa Bliss was absent this week, so the Queen had to go alone. I wonder if something happened with Alexa's kid, or if she was just being at home relaxing. I don't know. But Niven used her size advantage to take control at first, but Flair didn't let her keep the upper hand for too long. Green and Fire were doing their best to keep the Queen distracted, and it helped Niven dominate most of the match before the break. But then afterwards, we come back from break, and Flair began building up a head of steam. When we returned, Green and Fire interfered while the ref was distracted and helped Niven break out of the figure eight and hit her finisher with what ended up being her biggest singles win to date. That's right. Piper Niven actually defeated Charlotte Flair in this match. And good on WWE for allowing Piper Niven allowing Charlotte Flair to put over Piper Niven in this match. I'm not mad about it at all. Like I said, it was just really, really, really good A good showing in the match for both of these women, and again, a very important win in the career of Piper Niven, especially if you're going to set up a match for the tag titles, but between the Secret Hervis and Charlotte and Alexa coming down the line.
Yeah, I was very shocked by this ending, but shocked in a good way. And this is something I wish WWE would kind of do more of, is get these kind of upsets that you don't see coming when you think, okay, well, this is just kind of a filler match then for this champion or for this superstar because they're so over backstage, like creative's not going to let them lose, and then they pull something like this. I think it adds more authenticity to the styles. And Virgil, I don't know if you're watching your Cubs right now, but I just wanted to let you know PCA just hit a home run. I got him on my screen right now because there's no other baseball game on.
We needed it. PCA needed it. Kyle Tucker got one earlier in the game. PCA needed this one. Thank goodness. Whew.
But yeah, I thought pretty solid match, but it's the ending that I want to focus on the most, and that's what I'm more happy with. Is I like the shocking upset, and we don't see that as often as we should, honestly.
Yep. Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn had a backstage confrontation with Solo Sikoa. There was no violence involved, but Sami Zayn did let Solo know that he's not fighting the underdog Sami Zayn. He is fighting Sami Zayn, the WrestleMania main eventer. So Sami Zayn still trying to make a name for himself, still trying to prove that he's this main event talent. That was another key moment that happened before this match. So what did you think of that moment, if you had any thoughts?
I think it was more just to kind of put some light on Jimmy and Naomi with their pregnancy, and Solo coming in being his usual self, saying, "I got a perfect name for your kid. You can name him after your Uncle Solo." And he does his facial expressions that he's getting really good at. So
really good at.
Yeah, it was all right. I thought it was just another nice way to celebrate Jimmy and Naomi and also add to a storyline. So it was nice.
Absolutely. All right. So next we move to John Cena's farewell to Ireland. Cena made his way out to a big ovation from the Irish crowd for what will likely be his final appearance in a WWE ring in the country. He was joined by Logan Paul before he could even say two words. The social media megastar went off on Cena and the crowd. It was completely unprompted. Cena just sat back and listened until it was the right time to speak. Paul said Cena was the imposter, not him. No matter what he said, the crowd chanted against him. When Cena finally spoke, he put Paul over as a great athlete and a future champion before calling him a disappointment. Cena tipped over the prime display at ringside as he continued to complain about Paul's lack of respect for the business, which popped the crowd. You could see every step of this segment coming before it happened, but it still ended up being one of the most entertainment segments of the night because Cena is one of the best promo men in the business. He can get the crowd invested faster than anyone, and this segment was a great display of his ability. Paul tried to get physical and ended up taking the attitude adjustment to end the segment. You can still tell Cena's having fun with this final run. He does look a lot more comfortable being a babyface. It's just naturally who he is in a WWE ring. And then Paul also, one of the high spots, Paul being allowed to mention the agreement Cena had with Nikki Bella signed to move in with him was surprising, but Cena was allowed to mention Paul's legal issues, so they made it out of this segment on even ground. What did you think overall in this segment? What was the high spots, low spots?
I don't really think there's really a low spot. I mean, maybe kind of some middle ground spots when they were just getting started with the promo. The crowd, though, I think that's the first time I've seen, or I shouldn't say seen, but heard a crowd singing the lyrics to John Cena's theme song without piping in "John Cena sucks." Like even Cena could recognize that, and he told him to cut the music so that the fans could sing, and it was perfect timing. As soon as they cut it, you just hear the crowd just yelling, "My time is now," and it was just really cool to see that. As for the promo battle, I thought Paul did a really good job holding his own against Cena, and then Cena went scorched earth on him. And that was really good to see. That John Cena is always at his best when he is a babyface, but he brings out that little bit of heelness by roasting his opponent. He brings out that little bit of Doctor of Thugonomics out just for that little bit, and it works to perfection. And that's what he did here tonight, especially when Paul was talking. Like, you couldn't see, he wasn't talking into the mic, but Paul was talking to Cena during the promo, and Cena just goes, "Hey, you better shut up. I'm trying to drop some wisdom on your ass." Like, like something like that. That's what I'm talking about. That's the Cena that I love to see. He's still the good guy, but he knows when to turn it on.
Yep. No, I thoroughly enjoyed the segment too. Like I said, it was really, really refreshing, really, really good to see. And again, man, it just goes to show you exactly what Cena can do on the mic. But that Logan Paul ain't no slouch, man. In every facet of the game, I know people like Bad Bunny, and I can appreciate that. Bad Bunny was able to do in the ring was nothing short of amazing. Not even gonna front on that. But Logan Paul is a WWE superstar without even having to try. Like he don't have to try. Like, he's just naturally good at this, and he just does it, and it looks so effortless, and he's so good at it. Like he has no business being as good as he is in the ring. Street Profits versus MFTs. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins took on JC Mateo and Tonga Loa this week, but as usual, Sikoa and Tala Tonga were not far behind. Loa and Dawkins started for their teams, and the Profits took control with some quick double team offense. After the initial onslaught, it felt like this match was all MFTs. Big Jim tried to provide some support by attacking Tala with a chair, but he was chased away by the Giant. Zayn showed up and took out Sikoa before the Profits finished off Mateo to get the win. Most of this match is pretty standard stuff, but the final couple of minutes helped elevate the match as a whole. And again, you keep elongating storylines. The fans were chanting "You can't wrestle" at Mateo, which is really absurd. And I love the fact that Wade Barrett called them out on commentary and said that he actually wrestled for a gold medal. You idiots. He actually is a really great performer. I don't know where the fans got that at. And then Sikoa continues to be the best at taunting in WWE today. So what did you think of this match?
I mean, it served its purpose. I think not really the best, in my opinion. I thought the first tag team match was better than this. And, I don't blame the crowd for chanting "You can't wrestle," because the booking for Jeff Cobb since his debut has been god-awful. And like, this is his first time he's wrestled since the night after his debut. Yeah, like, you can't have him be this enforcer and then get thrown around like that. Not only that, but also change his name to something completely ridiculous. And
the fact that it's lazy. It's JC, which stands for Jeff Cobb Mateo.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's frustrating. And when you don't showcase his skills properly, people are going to take it not well. they're going to take it as what Dublin did tonight and say,
Yep.
you can't wrestle. Now, you could also make the argument maybe they were yelling at Tongaloa, but,
Yeah.
don't mess with my king there. You don't mess with Tongaloa. I don't care if he can't wrestle. He's still going to entertain your ass.
Oh, man. That's for certain. That is for certain. So yeah, man. Altogether, I think that I appreciate this SmackDown a lot more because I feel like it furthered along a lot of storylines that have just been sitting limp. And another one that it forwarded along was something I had to talk about on last week's Sunday special. R-Truth is back to his comedic shtick again. He revealed he ended up in Dublin, Georgia instead of Dublin, Ireland, but he sent Damian Priest to fight in his place. So Damian Priest gets the match against Aleister Black, which we know these two have had a problem against each other. They started brawling as soon as Priest hit the ring. The ref was trying to separate them so that he could start the match, but with no success. Security had to break it up, but they broke free and kept going after each other. Like I said, it's like I told you before. You can already see WWE is giving up on Truth being a serious character. He's right back to his comedy stuff. The brawl between Priest and Black was quick and didn't have anything too shocking. After Priest and Black were clear from the ringside area, Drew McIntyre showed up and gave a promo directed towards Cody Rhodes. But as he was talking, Randy Orton made his return and hit the ring with an RKO out of nowhere to take down the Scottish psychopath. Like I said, the segment started out very disappointing, but actually ended out very, very well. So, but there was never a match that actually happened. So, because they couldn't get them under control to even start it. So, I guess we foresee this being some type of match with a stipulation coming soon, right?
Yeah, you would think so. I think that's probably the next route. I know we're all a little upset that they're turning R-Truth back into his comedic gimmick. It does feel like there's still a little bit of a hint of Ron Killings in there, though. And you could see last week on SmackDown, Aleister Black was trying to get that out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And you could kind of see it, like, obviously, yeah, he's in Dublin, Georgia. That's very comedic of R-Truth to do that. But the way he said, he had a friend for him, he said it kind of in that Ron Killings kind of way. So I wanted full heel Ron Killings. But if we're going to get the best of both worlds with comedic R-Truth and still having some heel Ron Killings, I'll take it, honestly, because it's still something fresh for R-Truth that we haven't seen in a very long time.
Agreed. I can get behind that. I guess a hybrid of the two. Like, still be able to do the comedy stuff when it's calls for, but also be able to be serious when it's needed. I can get behind that. I just thought that there was really some real legs to this whole seriousness and him really being a heel. And like when he started cutting his hair on TV, and I felt all of that. I felt everything. I felt his anger, him being tired of being not taken serious. Because I remember K-Quick. And I remember, you know what I'm saying, when he debuted in TNA, and I remember him beating Ken Shamrock for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And I remember all of that stuff. And I remember like thinking like, dude, they had a diamond in the rough when he was working with Road Dogg, like you said. And so to know all of this and to know what's in there. But I mean, I guess more than anything, some R-Truth is better than no R-Truth, right? I guess we got to settle for what we can get, right?
Mm-hmm. It's either him be completely released or going back to his old ways. And I think we would all take back to old ways than him being released.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said, Coachman. All right, so we're headed to the main event. Nia Jax and Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. Nia and Becky had a quick meeting backstage to establish that they wanted to be on the same page despite still hating each other. Tiffy ended up taking out both opponents by herself with a huge senton from the top rope to the floor in the first few minutes of the match. Then we go to break. We return from break. We see Cargill taking it to Lynch. Jax made a blind tag and took out Cargill from behind, but she took too long to set up her finisher. Lynch decided to leave Jax to fend for herself, which led to Jade and Tiffany scoring the win. The match had a few hiccups, but it was decent and had the right ending. The show went off the air after Jake Paul was seen knocking out John Cena backstage. So John Cena is seen walking down a hallway. And as he's walking down that hallway, you see Nick Aldis come from behind him, and he says, "John, I've heard from Brock Lesnar." And then literally as John turns around, it's "Coo," which if you guys follow X, then you know that they actually had to reshoot that because the first time Logan Paul punched him, you could tell he didn't even touch John Cena. So the second time he actually came from behind Nick Aldis and pushed Nick out the way and punched John Cena, and the show ended with Cena being on the ground. And that would end your show.
Yeah, the main event was. I understand why it was the main event, and you got Becky, the hometown girl, being the main event, even though she's a heel. It just was okay. There wasn't anything special. I did think Jade looked really well in this match, though. So I think that's a positive for her going forward. If out of this match, you remember Jade Cargill's performance more than Becky Lynch's, then I think that's a win.
Anytime, yep.
So I think that was good on their part. As for the ending, love the cliffhanger. Love the way that, because people have been talking, what is the end game with Brock Lesnar back now? We haven't heard about him for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then we finally get that, only for Logan Paul to be Logan Paul and ruin the moment. Because that's what he's good at right now. And WWE knows that. So keep leaning into that. And ruining the moment like that, also kind of guaranteeing that Cena's going to win at Paris now, because if by the old standard, whoever stands tall at the end of a show before their match is going to lose, and Cena was standing tall, now Paul's standing tall, so now Cena's going to win. So I think that for people that look into that, I think that was a good call. And judging by the backstage segment with Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, I really think Drew McIntyre might be the final opponent for John Cena now. Because McIntyre talked about, you can't let Cena get in your head. This isn't 2010 when this is Super Cena. This is just regular John Cena. So they're planting the seeds for the eventual McIntyre-Cena match. I really think it's going to be his final match, especially if Gunther's not going to be available.
Right.
So I think that's
which I don't hate Drew McIntyre being Cena's last opponent either, because he is going to go off on him. The promos is going to be great. Like I said, the promo battle between those are going to be great because you know what Drew can do on the microphone. And he'll stop me when I'm telling lies. And just like I said, just trying to either John Cena, bringing up all his failures, everything he did in the past, and everything like that, and how he probably held Drew back. I'm pretty sure.
That's going to be big.
About how John Cena held him back and why he was a part of the reason why Drew got fired the first time. Yeah, man, it's all leading up to good. I'm excited for Clash in Paris. I'm excited to defend the We Book It Championship against some of the best in the business. And yeah, man, like I said, this was a really, really, really great show. Very, very strong. I think Paris is going to be even crazier next week. I'm excited for that, man. I can't wait. Like I said, it's going to be definitely something to watch. Also, since you are the host of Raw Dog Monday Night, it has already been announced Roman Reigns is opening up Raw Monday night. So you can't miss Monday Night Raw, and you cannot miss Raw Dog Monday Night Raw immediately after Monday Night Raw goes off the air with your host, Coachman. I am Virgil, standing in for Fritos. We appreciate you guys. Remember to keep those We Booking pencils sharp. Keep on booking.